Me, 25-year-old male, and my wife, 23-year-old female, are having our first child together. She is currently 9 months pregnant and could give birth any time in the next couple of weeks. The only major fight we have had throughout her pregnancy happened a couple days ago, and it was about what we were going to name our kid. It all started when we found out the gender of the baby. We didn't do a gender reveal and decided to find out the gender at one of her checkups because we didn't want to spend time making 2 lists of names, then have to get rid of one after. So after we found out we were having a boy, we sat down together and made a list. Almost all of the names she suggested were normal, until the one that caused me to write this post. She suggested we name our son Mune. She told me the name was from this movie she watched when she was younger and that it always stuck with her. I told her the name was a little out there and he would get made fun of for it. She claimed he wouldn't, and we started going back and forth trying to decide whether to add the name to the list or not. Eventually she agreed to keep the name off the list. We picked some that we liked, and I thought that was that. Later on in her pregnancy, her mum decided to throw a baby shower, as it was her first grandchild, and my wife's pregnancy was almost over, and we hadn't celebrated once. It was fine for the most part until we started to open the gifts. Most of them were normal baby things like diapers and bottles, until we got to her mum's gift. My wife opened the gift bag and pulled out a blue handmade blanket. It seemed normal enough at first until my wife unfolded it, and lo and behold, there was the name Mune written on the blanket. When I saw it, I was pissed, but didn't want to cause a scene, so I stayed quiet. After that reveal, I had family members come up to me and ask me about the name and why I hadn't told them. I didn't know what to tell them, as I didn't have a clue about this either, and just had to embarrassingly tell my family that, which pissed me off even more. Once the event ended and my wife and I went home, I started to question her about the name. She got defensive and told me that it was a good name and that I was overreacting about it. I brought up the earlier points and told her it was a stupid name for a kid, and if she wanted to name something Mune so bad she could use the name for a dog. She got upset and called her mum to come get her. After she left, she called me and told me she wouldn't be coming back for a while. Everyone I've talked to about this has said I'm not the jerk, but now that my wife has been gone and I've been thinking about it, I feel like I could have handled the situation better. Am I the jerk? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You are not overreacting and not the idiot. Tell your wife this, or better yet, have her read this. Naming a baby is a 2 yes or 1 no situation. You do not name a child something your partner does not agree with. You find a compromise. This is the start of many necessary compromises in life, and it is a total move to unilaterally decide on a child's name, despite your partner's misgivings. You need to put your foot down hard on this, because what she is doing is 100% not okay. She's absolutely not mature enough for motherhood if she cannot find a reasonable compromise on this. I am a mum to several kids. There are names I have loved, my husband has not, and there are names my husband has loved and I have not. We have always landed on a name that ended up being a great fit for our children. They might not have been our first choices, but it's not about winning. It's about finding a name you both love that will be a good fit for your child no matter what career they might have in life. And Chief Justice Mune doesn't have any weight. The only thing a name like Mune is good for is if your kid ends up the drummer in a metal band. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Congrats and good luck with everything. I'm also about to give birth and we haven't picked a final name yet. If my husband went behind my back and told his family a name and didn't bother to mention it to me, I'd be livid. Not to mention she told them early enough that they either had time to personalise or handmake a personalised gift. Names should be 2 yeses. I'm not going to comment on the name, but your wife is TA for making an important decision behind your back, keeping you out of the loop and telling people. That's not okay. Hopefully things can settle down and you guys can talk it out soon. Hope all goes well. Comment 3. Not the idiot. I think that your wife is being pretty ridiculous about the name. That's an awful name and you're right that the kid will be bullied for this. Your wife is incredibly wrong for deciding to name the child that name anyway, regardless of what you think. It's just as much your child as it is hers. Now for the update. 1 month later, the situation has grown even more bizarre. We were trying to mend things, but I found out my wife had secretly changed her own last name to Mune. Yes, you read that right. Her own. Not ours or our unborn son's, hers. She did it legally, and apparently my mother-in-law was in on it as well. They both thought it would be a great way to honour the name that they both seemed to love so much. Then, as if things weren't already crazy enough, my wife decided to throw a Mune-themed party. She invited all of her friends, family, and even some of my own friends. It was like a second twisted baby shower. There was a Mune cake, Mune decorations, and everyone received Mune t-shirts as a party favour. I was not invited, but of course found all of this out through a friend who attended and thought I was in on the whole thing. In the midst of all this, my wife decided to get a puppy. Can you guess what she named it? That's right, Mune. This dog now has the name that was originally proposed for our son. I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm livid and completely bewildered. Moreover, my wife has also started a petition to make the name Mune more popular. It's currently circulating online, and she has been pestering everyone we know to sign it. She claims that the more people name their kids Mune, the less unusual it will be, and the less likely our son would be made fun of if we eventually decide to give him that name. She seems to have forgotten we agreed not to use the name at all. The latest development is that my wife has started going to a local artist to get a tattoo, a giant Mune tattoo on her back. She claims it's the ultimate tribute to a name she loves so dearly. At this point, I don't know whether I'm in some sort of bizarre dream or if this is actually my reality. I'm at a loss. How do I even begin to handle a situation like this? I just hope our poor son doesn't have to deal with the consequences of this absurd obsession. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. It's one thing for your wife to want to change her last name, but changing it without discussing it with you, especially considering you guys are married and share a child together, is a big red flag. Not including you in the decision-making process about something so significant is disrespectful and undermines the partnership aspect of your relationship. Also, changing the name of your unborn son is an even bigger issue, as it should definitely be a joint decision. It's not just about the name itself, but the way she went about it. She seems to be making major life decisions without considering your feelings or thoughts, and that's not how a healthy relationship should function. Comment 2. Not the idiot. This is a very unusual situation indeed. While it's essential to respect individuality in a relationship, there are certain boundaries one should not cross, especially when it involves family matters. Changing her last name to Mune, naming the unborn child Mune, and even getting a puppy named Mune, all without your knowledge or consent, seems excessive and obsessive. It's as if she's forcing this Mune identity onto everyone around her without considering how they might feel about it. Getting a giant Mune tattoo is a personal decision, but it's something that should at least be discussed with you first, as it can lead to irreversible consequences. Comment 3. Not the idiot. The whole Mune situation is definitely out of the ordinary and can be a cause of concern. It's not just about the fact that she changed her last name or plans to do the same for your unborn son. It's the whole obsession with the name that's concerning. The Mune-themed party, the petition, the puppy, and the planned tattoo. It seems like she's taken it to an unhealthy level. You have every right to feel angry and worried, especially considering the future of your son. It's vital to have open conversations about these things and make decisions together as a couple. You're certainly not in the wrong for feeling this way. Now for the next story. I am a housewife now. I was a stay-at-home mum when my kids were young, and now that everyone is out of the home, I am a housewife. The moment I met Beth, she has had a problem with me. The first time I met her and I told her I'm a homemaker, she told me that's not a job, and it's lazy of me. I met her 30 minutes before that. It comes up all the damn time. They come over for dinner and I mention I'm tired, and she will tell me I don't work, so how am I tired? I have talked to her and my son before. My husband and I have concluded that she is jealous. It's the only thing that makes sense at this point. I have told her if it happens again, I will ask her to leave, and the comments stopped for a bit. They were over for a dinner party and I was talking about how I made the pie for tonight. Beth made a comment that of course I had enough time since I don't work. I had enough and told her I had enough. I get that she is jealous of me since she has to work, but she needs to get out and she's not welcome back. My son and she called me a jerk for kicking them out. Edit. Not working doesn't equal lazy. I'm not loafing around the house all day. I get up, do all the chores, take care of all the paperwork, go to the gym, take the dogs out, make homemade meals every day, volunteer and so on. Lazy would be chilling in front of the TV all day, not having the home spotless and having my husband have no worries about anything that isn't work-related. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot, but also an idiot. If someone disrespects you in your own house, you can kick them out. No problem there. My husband and I have concluded that she is jealous. It's the only thing that makes sense at this point. She's not jealous of your decision to be a housewife. She thinks you're uneducated, unskilled, and or useless. She disrespected you because she has no respect for your choices and your lifestyle. The whole, they hate me because they're jealous is 99% cope. Learn how to handle judgment from others. You're supposed to be the adult here. Comment 2. Not the idiot housewife is a hard job and taking care of them was a great job. If she's jealous and is saying this to try and let your son know she doesn't want to work, she's got to talk to him. Son is, you're the idiot. I don't understand how he's calling you a jerk and didn't see an issue in standing up for you. Speak to him first maybe on the issue, but you should not be disrespected in your own home. Comment 3. She was warned. She was rude. She was kicked out. What did she expect was going to happen? Now you can approach this constructively with your son and ask him if there is something going on with her that you can help with, but make it clear that her rudeness will not be tolerated. Now, for the update. Well, talk about a whirlwind of 2 weeks, let me tell you. Now, I've been able to keep my cool with Beth for years, but after she left that dinner party, she turned our peaceful suburban street into a war zone. Beth apparently has been harbouring a secret grudge against me. The day after she stormed out of our house, she decided to make my life a living hell. She started blasting loud music early in the morning when I was trying to catch a few extra moments of sleep. This would have been fine if it were classical, or even some smooth jazz, but no, she had to blast heavy metal at full volume. Then she decided it would be fun to file a noise complaint against us. That's right, the woman blasting Metallica at 6 in the morning called the cops on us for our dog George barking. George is a 10-year-old golden retriever who's more likely to lick someone to death than bark. But here's the kicker. Beth, in her infinite wisdom, decides to run for the local council. Her campaign promise? To ban housewives from running neighbourhood committees, claiming it should be a job for working people. She's been posting flyers, hosting informal gatherings, and even has the audacity to show up on our doorstep looking for support. The last straw was when she publicly accused my husband of cheating on me with her. The audacity of this woman. My husband, God bless him, is not the wandering type, and Beth is not his flavour. He handled it with grace, denying it publicly and filing a defamation suit against her. But let me tell you the best part. The neighbourhood rallied around us. They're tired of her drama, her accusations, her blatant disrespect. They squashed her council campaign, threw out her flyers, and even started a petition to get her to move out of the neighbourhood. I've seen a lot in my time as a housewife, but I never thought I'd see the day when I'd become the cause célèbre of my neighbourhood. And Beth, she's learning the hard way that respect is a two-way street. So, here's to the next 2 weeks. Who knows what's going to happen next? Maybe Beth will decide to run for president and ban housewives from the country, but I've got a great community by my side, and let's just say I'm not scared of a challenge. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. You're not responsible for Beth's behaviour or her feelings toward you. It sounds like she's projecting her own issues onto you out of resentment or jealousy. Playing loud music at inappropriate hours and filing a noise complaint against your dog are petty acts of retaliation. It's unfortunate that she's taken this to such an extreme level, but it's heartening to see your community supporting you. Stand your ground and continue to handle this situation respectfully and tactfully. Remember, her actions reflect on her, not you. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Beth clearly has some personal issues she needs to work on, and it is not your problem to fix her. She's not only making a fool of herself, but also causing unnecessary drama in your community. Her campaign to ban housewives from running neighbourhood committees is sexist, outdated and illogical. It's great to see your neighbourhood rallying against her attempts to stir up trouble. As for the accusation against your husband, unless she has solid proof, it's just a baseless claim to further her own agenda. Comment 3. Not the idiot. You're simply the target of Beth's misplaced anger, and it's clear she's trying to manipulate the situation to her advantage. Her public accusation against your husband is not just an attack on your marriage, but a desperate attempt to gain sympathy and support for her council campaign. It's heartwarming to hear that your community has seen through her antics and chosen to support you instead. It's important to remember that her actions are not a reflection of your character, and it's commendable that you're dealing with this situation with grace and resilience. Now for the next story. I, female, have been married to my husband Jeff for a year now. He has a daughter, 12, with his deceased wife. When I first met Jeff, it was obvious that he was struggling as a single parent. For my stepdaughter's birthday, he'd usually get a cake from the bakery. This has been the case since her mum passed away. I thought I'd bake her a birthday cake for her 12th birthday that was last week, as a gesture to show some motherly love and support. Jeff agreed, and he told me what his daughter's favourite flavours are and what she likes and so on. I baked the cake in the flavour she likes and the icing she likes, but one thing was missing, and that is the blueberries, and I couldn't include them because I went to the nearest store, and they didn't have them. I was running out of time and couldn't get them, so I ended up just leaving the cake as it, thinking it wouldn't be a big deal. The party started, and Jeff was busy taking care of everything else. He then came into the kitchen and asked to see the cake before bringing it out. I showed it to him, and he got so angry when he saw that there were no blueberries on top. He went on and on about how I didn't fully commit to making the cake, and that he trusted me to take care of it, and just basically saying that he should have just ordered one from the bakery. We got into an argument, and he ended up taking it and throwing it in the trash can. I was stunned as he said, "You know what? Forget it, I'll get one from the bakery." I blew up and screamed at him. He told me to stop, but I went upstairs, got dressed and left. He tried getting me to stay, but I refused and went to my parents. He later called and then texted about how I overreacted and hurt him and my stepdaughter by leaving. He also said that I created this situation by not properly making the birthday cake just because I didn't put blueberries on top. I refused to respond, but my parents say he was justified since he must have felt pressured from the stress of making his daughter happy on her birthday. He keeps trying to speak to me, but I don't respond. Am I the idiot? Did I overreact? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Dos and GT said that I created this situation by not properly making the birthday cake just because I didn't put blueberries on top. And GT, am I the idiot? No. He did not appreciate your time, efforts, concern and love for his daughter, and literally threw it away. Then blamed you for that and shamed you for being upset and leaving. Does he think it would have been fun for you or for anyone else if you had been forced to stay while crying at a kid's birthday party after his tantrum upset you, and if he had succeeded in forcing you to stay? Even from his, seems to me, selfish point of view, how would that be good? For his daughter either, with that tension hanging in the air. Caused by him, though, or his glaring at you throughout had you stayed. You were justified leaving. Did he think of his daughter, really, when he did that? I can't see how she would have said, yeah, throw out my B-Day cake. You and GT. My parents say he was justified since he must have felt pressured from the stress of making his daughter happy on her birthday. No wonder you are not sure if your feelings are valid. They are. Not the idiot. Comment 2. Not the idiot. You went out of your way to research what kind of care your stepdaughter would want, put in the effort to bake a cake after agreeing with the dad on you baking the cake, and baked a lovely birthday cake. It was just missing one kind of deco because you couldn't source it in time. He went nuclear and threw out your cake. Yeah, I wouldn't have stayed around after that either. It is a childish, vindictive, aggressive and hurtful way to deal with what he saw as a less than perfect situation. He seems extremely overprotective of his daughter. She's 12 and would probably love this cake even if it didn't have blueberries. Even if she had noticed and said something, she could have been told the shop ran out, and at her age she should be able to understand that and lean to deal with that kind of disappointment. Are you pushed aside in other parenting situations too? How is your relationship with your stepdaughter? It's only been a year and he already treats you like this. I'd reconsider this marriage. Comment 3. Not the idiot, he seems to have some major red flags that need to be dealt with. Why is he so upset about the blueberries? Could it be that he was triggered and remembered that his wife always made it a specific way and so he always ordered it from the bakery in a specific way? I think if the blueberries were that important, he should have stressed this to you prior, so that you could have gone to a different grocery store to source them out. I don't think it's fair to your stepdaughter that she was thrown in the middle of this. How is your relationship with her? Has she made any comments regarding the cake, or was she just upset about the fact that you weren't there? I think your partner could benefit from starting therapy and working through his emotions in a healthier way. Now for the update. My heart has been heavy since the cake incident. I've tried to keep myself busy, but Jeff's actions that day just keep replaying in my mind. Last week I mustered up the courage to go back to our house. I found it in a mess, dirty dishes piled up in the sink and clothes scattered everywhere. It seemed like Jeff was spiralling, which only added to my heartache. I kept waiting for a proper apology from him, a sincere act of repentance and acknowledgement of his mistake, but all I received were half-hearted texts and voicemails. He just didn't seem to understand how badly he had hurt me. Things took a turn for the worse when I received a call from Jeff's daughter. She was upset, crying over the phone. Jeff had forgotten about an important school event of hers and she felt abandoned. I comforted her as best as I could, but my heart broke for her. This wasn't just about a cake anymore. This was about a family falling apart. Last weekend was probably the worst. My dad had a stroke. He's stable now, but the whole experience was terrifying. I felt so alone, dealing with this without Jeff by my side. My mum asked about him and all I could do was shrug. She didn't press further. I thought things were going to get better when Jeff showed up at the hospital unexpectedly. He came bearing flowers and a remorseful look on his face. I took it as a sign he was finally ready to make amends, but then he opened his mouth. Instead of an apology, he started blaming me for his actions. He said I drove him to act the way he did, making him seem like the bad guy. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I just stood there shocked. My dad's condition took a toll on my patience and I just lost it. I asked him to leave, my voice trembling with anger and hurt. He left without saying another word. I'm not sure what's going to happen from here. I'm so emotionally drained and my faith in our relationship is shattered. I keep hoping for a miracle, for Jeff to truly understand the depth of his actions and apologize sincerely. But with each passing day, that hope is fading. I'm trying to stay strong for my dad and Jeff's daughter, but it's getting harder. The future seems so uncertain and all I see is heartache. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. This is an unfortunate situation and your feelings are completely understandable. Jeff's actions cannot be excused just because he's going through something. His inability to step up and be supportive during your father's stroke shows a lack of empathy and responsibility on his part. His blame game is manipulative, and his lack of apology reflects poorly on his character. This is a time where you needed him the most and he let you down. Comment 2. Not the idiot. It seems like Jeff is dealing with his own issues, but that doesn't give him the right to behave irresponsibly. Forgetting his daughter's school event and leaving your house in disarray shows a lack of respect and consideration for both you and his family. It's important to maintain boundaries in such situations. If he refuses to acknowledge his mistakes and make amends, it might be in your best interest to distance yourself from him for your own mental and emotional well-being. Comment 3. Not the idiot. It's clear that you're going through a tough time, and Jeff's actions are adding to your stress rather than alleviating it. His lack of support during your father's stroke and the subsequent blaming is a major red flag. It's not your responsibility to fix or tolerate his behavior. You've shown remarkable strength and patience, but it's important to prioritize your own well-being. It might be time to reevaluate your relationship with Jeff. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.